It was supposed to be a normal holiday, but it ended up being more than that. My first visit to Nepal after having discovered my own interest in Nepalese traditional art was after some 4 long years. This newly started love life with traditional arts would have been much easier had it been only for temples and shrines. It was but a part of life in those Newar settlements, the main entrance to their houses being marked by deities and auspicious symbols, which is what my This One Story is all about. In the early 20th century, Percy Brown had characterized Nepalese art as not for appreciation but religion. This rather one-dimensional observation would be easily defied by these beautifully painted doors in which the artists have put in every effort to make us feel welcome. Literally, wherever these doors stand, they offer a piece of heaven. Cha for clay and Chi for symbols in Nepal Bhasa, says Lok Chitrakar, a renowned traditional artist. But like everything else in a rich culture with long historical background, Chachi has many other popular names, while Ishwarman Sinya is happy calling it Angakipa in his 2003 essay. Lukhadwa is the term used by Preman Chitrakar, another renowned artist come writer. Among the symbols used for the door, at the top of everything, Buddhists include Panchabuddha or 5 Buddhas and Ashtamangal or 8 auspicious symbols, while Hindus include Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, Ganesh and Kumar, then Ashtamangal like in the Buddhist counterpart. On either sides of the door, on the top, is one who always speaks the truth and brings good news, one who never speaks any bad about others but just the good, a parrot. Then after that, Hindus use wide open mikha or eyes. Not fierce though, just with a casual expression, which is decorated by Mikasina, which is called Betachi, also known as Alankar in Sanskrit. Below that is Kalash. It represents one's promise not to harm anyone. It is filled with water and also has swa or flour, sina or tikka, and abir or vermilion powder, and is used to welcome the guests. These are painted on either sides of the doors. It's all the same for Buddhists as well, but just the mikha or eye is different. While Hindus use betachi, sinha, for eyes, Buddhists decorate with ratna sinha, which goes with dhyan mikha or meditational eyes. So what is the significance of dhyan mikha? It represents the madhyam marga, or the middle path. It sees inside as well as outside, as taught by the Buddha. It is half open and half closed, meaning it can see inside as well as outside. Regarding the Panchabuddhas, each Buddha has its own significance. They represent the Panchatattvas or 5 elements. Yellow Buddha represents Ratna or jewel. Blue Buddha represents the sky, White Buddha represents water, red Buddha represents fire, and green Buddha represents land. Ashtamangal are 8 auspicious symbols. It includes Srivatsa, which is an endless knot, which continues infinitely like our lives. Pundarik is lotus, representing softness. Dhwaja represents air. Kalash represents purity. Chamar represents pleasure. Matsya is fish. It can survive in water but not in land. This means that we should be conscious both in sleep as well as when we are awake. Chhatra is umbrella. It gives us shelter in rain, which represents saving us from problems. Shankha is conch shell. It represents purity and its sound means emptiness. So, with all my love and respect for traditional art and artists, I happened to pass by some official landmarks of Nepal which the then ruling government had commemorated in national interest. The government's campaign for One Nation, One Language had not only marginalized ethnic languages, but also misrepresented the traditional art practice. In an attempt towards forcing an artificial patriotism, they most insensitively contaminated profound symbolic meanings of traditional art with symbolic replacements like national animal cow and flower rhododendron. Not only did this cater to the ruling government's policy for Nepalization of Kathmandu's valuable art tradition, it also grossly misled the known theories of iconography. The green body of parrot offers a nice contrast to its red beak, and it is quite realistic too. Then there is a tripod on which is placed a kalash. The kalash holds panchapallav or 5 leaves, including the leaves of Belapatra, etc. Besides the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwar and Kumar and Ganesh, Hindus also include Lakshmi and Saraswati. Brahma represents Brahmins, not by caste but by mind, those who are learned. Brahmin means scientists and innovators too. Having the doors painted by these symbols and deities means a welcome to the daughter-in-law who would give birth to a son who is like Brahma. Vishnu represents one who cares and brings up the child. Hence, the child's mother herself is represented by Vishnu. Shiva is not the killer but savior at the time when the body is used up. The tripod hence represents Srishti, Sthiti and Samhar philosophy, literally creation, protection and savior, who form a triangular relationship. Water-filled kalash represents completeness in life. And the parrot represents a human-like ability to learn. A parrot knows nothing until it is living in the forest, but when brought to our home, it learns to speak from humans. So why are the eyes painted at the door? When we close our eyes, we don't see anything. Hence, eyes are doors and doors are eyes. The philosophy in this culture is from Vedic times, estimated to be 5,000 years ago. Tracing the history of Pun's, Preman Chitrakar's guess goes as far as 4th century when the Indian Emperor Ashoka's mother, Charumati, came to Chaba Hill in Kathmandu, where she had a private room for meditation. She commissioned artists for a curtain to cover the door. That curtain is still known as Masu Daki, and a copy of which is still retained by Pun families. It is not just door paintings that Chitrakars do. With a population of some 1200 as reported by Jura Tufan in 1995, making up 0.3% of total Newars then, he further identifies some 20 different painting commissions the Puns would accomplish traditionally, including Bhairav faces and eyes in various chariots, cow faces in Saparu or Gaijatra, Kantakarna demon in Gathamuga festival, Nagas during Naga Panchami, Mahisasur demon in pumpkins during Mohani or Dasai, and so on.
To be honest, one does not find a parrot anywhere else in Nepalese traditional art except at the doors. This, of course, raises a few questions, like where did the Chitrakars borrow this symbol from, and from when? A close look at Henry Ambrose Oldfield's mid-19th century paintings of Kathmandu show eyes as the most popular symbols at the doors or gates, followed by the kalash, but not a parrot. From these paintings, at least we can say the parrot was a more recent entry to the set of symbols, which most probably took place towards the turn of 20th century.
1846 to 1951 saw Nepal under the dark shadow of oligarchic Rana regime. Traditional art found far less patronage, but the Chitrakars were exposed to classical Western style of oil painting, as the first few from the general public to visit Europe, who was one of them, Bhajuman Chitrakar. Although we know very less about how photography actually started in Nepal and when, thanks to Suzanne von der Heyde's account of Dirgaman Chitrakar's career and works, we know that Chitrakars of Kathmandu were expert users of camera by the late 19th century. Many Chitrakars found themselves busy taking portraits and family photos of the Ranas. Chitrakars, or Puns, who once were called to every wedding or other auspicious occasions for their painting services, today stay away from the Newar doors, which were once incomplete without their art. Today, they are the Forgotten Artists of Nepal.